What if I told you the man who built the world's first antivirus software, the program that protected millions of computers from destruction, would later become one of the world's most wanted fugitives? This is the story of John McAfee, a billionaire tech founder turned outlaw. His life was filled with genius inventions, murder accusations, failed businesses, presidential campaigns, crypto hype, wild parties, and a mysterious death that many believe wasn't a suicide. Today, we're diving into one of the wildest founder stories you've probably never heard. A story that proves genius and chaos often live in the same mind. Despite growing up with trauma, John McAfee's brilliance showed early. In the 1960s, while most young people were still figuring out their path, McAfee was already working at NASA on the Apollo space missions. His job? Writing code that helped put astronauts on the moon. He later worked at top companies like Xerox, Univac, and Lockheed Martin. On the surface, McAfee looked like a genius engineer climbing the corporate ladder. But behind the scenes, he was restless, unpredictable, and destined for something far bigger and far darker. In 1986, two Pakistani brothers created a computer virus called Brain. It spread through floppy disks around the world. Suddenly, businesses and governments realized their machines could be infected, their data stolen, and their systems destroyed, and nobody knew how to stop it. Most people panicked. But John McAfee? He smelled opportunity. Working at Lockheed Martin, he read about this virus and immediately saw dollar signs. By 1987, he built VirusScan, the world's first consumer antivirus software. McAfee had a brilliant strategy. Instead of selling the software up front, he gave it away for free. Anyone could download McAfee Antivirus at no cost. But here was the catch. Once people saw the threats detected on their computers, they were terrified to uninstall it. That's when McAfee charged them to stay protected. It was a genius mix of fear and marketing, and it worked. By the early 1990s, McAfee had turned his company into the world's largest antivirus empire. The man who once coded for NASA now protected millions of computers worldwide. But this success was only the beginning, because John McAfee was about to go off the rails. In 1994, McAfee shocked the industry. He sold his entire stake in his company for $100 million. Most people would retire quietly, maybe buy an island and disappear. But not John McAfee. Instead, he launched yoga studios, herbal medicine companies, instant messaging platforms, and other bizarre ventures. Every single one failed. But McAfee didn't care because he had money, time, and a thirst for chaos. McAfee's life started looking like a Hollywood movie. He bought mansions. He had heavily armed guards patrolling his properties. He surrounded himself with watchdogs, a fleet of expensive cars, a luxury yacht for wild parties, and even a harem of much younger women. To outsiders, he was living like a pirate king. To insiders, he was a man spiraling out of control. And soon, his story would take a deadly turn. In 2008, McAfee moved to Belize. There, he built a heavily fortified compound that locals whispered was hiding a secret drug lab. McAfee claimed it was for antibiotics, but rumors swirled about drugs, weapons, and paranoia. Then came November 2012. His neighbor, Gregory Fall, was found dead with a bullet in his head. The same neighbor who had complained about McAfee's loud dogs. Police suspected John McAfee. Instead of answering questions, McAfee fled. He staged fake heart attacks, spoke to reporters while on the run, and turned his manhunt into a media circus. The antivirus king was now a fugitive. Shockingly, McAfee made it back to America in late 2012. But instead of hiding, he leaned into his outlaw image. He joined the Libertarian Party and even ran for president in 2016 and 2020. He campaigned against government control, against taxes, and for the freedom of cryptocurrency. In the tech world, his wild Bitcoin prediction became legendary. In July 2017, McAfee tweeted one of the most infamous bets in crypto history. Bitcoin will hit $500,000 by 2020. If not, I'll eat my own dick on national television. His prediction was absurd, but it grabbed headlines worldwide. Bitcoin didn't even come close. McAfee later admitted it was a publicity stunt, but by then he had built himself into one of the loudest, craziest voices in crypto culture. He even joked that whale fucking would be the next extreme water sport. That was John McAfee. Unpredictable, outrageous, and impossible to ignore. At his peak, McAfee's fortune was estimated at $5 billion during the dot-com boom. But in the 2008 financial crisis, he lost nearly everything, dropping to under $4 million. When crypto boomed, he rebuilt his wealth by promoting tokens, consulting, and marketing himself as a digital freedom fighter. But that comeback put him in the crosshairs of governments. By 2019, McAfee was indicted for tax evasion. He hadn't filed taxes for years, calling taxation theft and governments criminal organizations. In 2020, he was arrested in Spain at the request of U.S. authorities. He was accused of crypto pump-and-dump schemes worth $23 million. For the first time, it seemed the law had finally caught up with him. But the most shocking part of his story was still to come. On June 23, 2021, John McAfee was found dead in a Spanish prison cell. The official story: suicide by hanging while awaiting extradition to the U.S. But almost immediately, conspiracy spread. Why? Because McAfee had tattooed dollar whacked on his arm years earlier, claiming, "I would never kill myself." Some believe he was silenced. Others think it was simply the tragic end of a man who lived too close to chaos. Either way, his death remains one of the great modern mysteries. John McAfee's story is more than the rise and fall of a billionaire. It's the story of how brilliance and madness can live side by side. He created tools to protect the digital world, and then became the very chaos he once fought. His legacy is complicated. Was he a genius entrepreneur, a fraud, a criminal, or all of the above? One thing is certain: John McAfee turned his life into a myth. A story so wild, it will be told for decades to come. The most dangerous founders share one trait: they don't just build companies, they build myths. McAfee's personal brand was both his greatest creation and his ultimate destruction. It's a reminder that in the digital age, your brand can be more powerful than your product. And it's also a warning: one reckless move can destroy everything you've built. John McAfee's story proves that genius can take you to the top, but chaos can take you down just as fast.